Everyone, this is Caroline. I am going to be working in my studio today. I'm going to be painting from one of my sketches that I did. I'm thinking I'm going to be painting this flower bouquet, and I'm going to be putting it onto this acrylic and oil paper. You could buy these in a pad of paper at the arts and crafts store. So I'm painting using the inexpensive art supplies, and these supplies were left over from when I was an art therapist and when I was working in the office as an art therapist. I am still an art therapist. I have my license for it, but I no longer work in the office. I work as a telehealth counselor nowadays. And I'll talk to my clients about using art as a way of healing. But I decided, for a lot of reasons, why I didn't want to continue working in the office. And I'm going to keep that to myself. Everyone has their preference of what they want, especially as you get older and more experience in the field. You start pinpointing what is best for you. But I decided that I would make videos about using inexpensive art materials. I think sometimes they get the bad rap of that you can't do art unless you have expensive materials, and there's some truth to that. That the more expensive the art materials are, the more quality, the pigment and just the paint quality itself, and it would last longer, does matter. But let's just say that you are not making a good amount of money where you could spend $50 on 8 tubes, and there would be small tubes of paint. And you also then have to buy paper and brushes. And if you buy expensive paints, you need quality brushes. You need quality paper. Otherwise, it's just kind of pointless to only have one to be your quality. And if you are a person where you can't afford it for your own reasons financially, and there's no judgment to that, because there is quite a bit of people that like to do art, but they can't afford the supplies. There are places that you could go where they take in donated art supplies, even donated paints. You will find that at some thrift shops might take in art supplies. And if you're lucky to live in a city, there'll be a thrift shop just specifically for art supplies. So take a look at those, because you might luck out on some interesting materials. But I think that for people to be interested in art, they have to be able to afford it, and they also have to have the understanding that it might be a little harder to do some techniques with the inexpensive supplies, but they could find a way of painting, and they could have a hobby. And at the end of the day, they might not be an artist, they might not want to sell their art, they might not want to be in the gallery, but they want to be able to come home from work and relax and be able to paint and not feel guilty that they spent over $100 just to get all their supplies. So my goal today for this video is to get the first layer down of all this and be able to come back after it dries and continue working on it. And I paint with a whimsical feel to my floral paintings, and they could be very fun, they could be tedious at times depending on how much detail I want to put into the painting. But right now I'm just laying down the solid basic colors, and then I will go back in and start adding the details and the layers of colors that I want to do. And some of this we'll have to go over twice or maybe 3 times just to get the smoothness of the color. So the purple pots definitely will have to be painted maybe a few times, but that's okay. And it's the fun of making art that you get to keep working on it. And the acrylic paint is nice because you can let it dry and then you could go over it with another color if you ended up not liking it. But these colors are picked as we go. I am not pre-planning any of the colors. It's just basically what I'm feeling, what I want to do right now. And I tend to not change my colors too often unless it's really not showing the energy that I want it to. I tend to paint with lively colors. I do love pink, so you will definitely always find pink in my colors or my paintings. I love yellow as well, so I probably will find yellow now and make one of those colors to be yellow. You know, I just like the expression of color, so the more the better. Sometimes, yes, you could get a little too carried away, but I absolutely love to walk into a room and it's bright, cheery. You could feel the personality of the person who lives there, and I also wear a lot of clothes that are colorful, that have flowers on them, and I just absolutely love it. Okay, so I got the stems in, and I'm going to add more stems as we go. Those are like those little leafy things that some bouquets might have. And I'm going to add in some flowers that are kind of like a white color, but I'm going to put some extra color in it after it dries. But I think that might be nice to have a soft look to this bouquet. I like color, but I also like to add in a softness. And I just want to add some fun flowers. I don't even know what these would be called. I don't paint necessarily realistic flowers. They're whimsical flowers, so they're just giving you the feeling of a nice bouquet, something that's pleasant to look at. Some of this might change a little bit. Not all of these will be white. Maybe some of them will turn into a different color. But right now I want to put the basic color of white down and go from there. I kind of like this negative space, so that's what I look at when I do these whimsical paintings. Is I like to look at the negative space, and I like to keep some of them because some of them are really interesting negative space, and that helps to look at it and to move your eye around. So you want to be careful that you don't fill in everything, every single space with it, but you want to get the message across of, well, what you want in the flowers and what kind of bouquet you're looking for. So if you're looking for a very busy, strong, very full bouquet, then maybe some of your negative space would be like the stems and the leaves, not necessarily the background, because you wouldn't be able to see the background in those bouquets. But this one is a soft bouquet where you could see in between, and it's just more pleasant and more calmer to look at. So I'm going to leave those flowers there, and I might add in like little tiny flowers in between. That I'm not sure. That's what's coming to my mind right now. But we're going to let those flowers dry. I'm going to paint the background, and I'm going to be very careful going around the flowers. And the background, I just want it to be more on the neutral side. But these are curtains, is what I'm thinking that I'm doing, is curtains here. So I want the curtains to match the color of the pot, but I don't want it to be exactly. I want it to be a little bit darker, so maybe like more of a maroon looking color. So let me go see if I can find a color that way, or maybe I have to mix it. I found this color called Tapestry Wine, and it's in the apple barrel acrylic paint in the, what do you call these, in these bottles. And let's see how this color looks as like curtains for this. Yeah, that looks nice, because I didn't want it to match. The reason why I didn't want to match the pot is because I don't want the painting to go flat looking too quick, too soon. So having this as an accent color is going to offset a little bit. And this is a whimsical painting, so when I get all the paint down, I will go in and add some details and see what I could come up with for a little bit more of a fun look to it. And so just kind of remind yourself that when a person does a whimsical painting or drawing, they're not trying to capture the real flower or the curtains to look real. It's to know that those are curtains, know that those are flowers, and then have some fun with it. So they don't have to look realistic at all. So I really like that color with this. What I might do is I might add this this burgundy color, Tapestry Wine is what it's called. I might try adding this color with this pot color and see what I get, because that might be a nice color to play around in the rest of the painting. Might like be able to blend it together. All right, so I'm going to paint the background, and I am thinking that I want this background to be maybe a very light pink color, and I am thinking the top to be more of an off-white. So let me see what I have and then kind of go from there. Let's see how this color looks, and it's more of a thinner paint, so I'm not sure if I would want this. Might be a little too light. It's kind of nice, pleasant looking color. Not sure. So let's just go ahead and paint the whole bottom part with this color, and then I could decide later if I want to go over it. It might be okay because I am going to put a design on it. So that paint is called Pink Blush Pearl, and it's by Craft Smart, and I like it. I might go back over it again before I add the details to it. It is a very soft feel to it, and that's really what I was looking for. And then I'm going to pick this color. It's called Pastel Rose, and this is by Anita's All-Purpose Acrylic. I'm not sure where Anita's All-Purpose Acrylic is sold at, but I know I got a lot of these as donation at some point, so let me take a look at this color. It's kind of a very, very light white with a little pink in it, and this might be a little too white with what I'm looking for. Yeah, just a little too white. So I'm wondering if a different shade of pink just would be a little bit better. Let me look at my paints and I'll. All right, so I don't like this color. I mean, the color is fine. I just don't like it for the background, what I'm going for. I'm going to try a different blue and see if a blue that's a little bit more muted would be a little bit better. And I'm actually mixing it in with the rose color that I put down just to see if that might be what I'm looking for. Sometimes you have to just take some chances and mix paints together and see if you get more of like what your filling is that you're going for. But yeah, this is a little bit better. So beyond that, this is kind of like a window that it's sitting in front of. This also makes a little bit more sense too. Okay, I'm going to get a smaller brush and then go through the little small peaks. Let's see if I can do this. Now some people would just start with a background with like a certain background color and then paint over that. I tend to not do that. I just get right into the painting. But maybe I will do one just so you could see that process. But it is not necessarily a process I go through. I actually kind of like working with the white background first, just because then I can see everything together as it comes together. I find that the colored background distracts me a little bit from what I might be after. But some people want the undertone colors to come through. I rather have details of like texture and layers of paint and like patterns to play around with instead of concentrating on the undertone of the paint. So everyone's different. You know, you pick whichever one you want. Maybe you do a little bit of both. I really don't think there's a right or wrong. I think the wrong is to just not do art. I think having access to supplies is important. I say make art for the sake of making art, not having any worry about if someone's going to say that you're right or wrong for what you did. You know, we could always learn about techniques and styles, but really at the end of the day, when you get in front of your paints and you decide what you want to start painting, you get to decide every part of it yourself. You don't have to worry about how people paint, and if you're meeting that standard, meet your own standard. So I'm going to zoom out and move my camera a little bit so you can see. And right now, that is where this painting is at. And I am going to paint the pot one more time before I let everything dry at once. So let me mix up that paint. And okay, so I am painting the pot a second time just because it is a large space and I would like to have the pot to be relatively finished when I sit back down and start putting the next layers and patterns. I'm going to stop here for right now and let everything dry, and then the next time I film will be putting into the whimsical look to this painting. So thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. It allows me to share my artwork, share some of different techniques, and also some art therapy as well. So please make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Thank you.